This week marked the final act in a long and unprecedented legal saga. On Friday, Donald Trump was sentenced to unconditional discharge for his conviction on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Basically, that means he won't face any real consequences for breaking the law, except the stigma, of course, of being criminally convicted by a jury. It's a small measure of accountability and the only one of Trump's 4 criminal cases to actually go to trial. And it comes as Jack Smith, who led the 2 federal prosecutions of Trump, quietly resigned his post as special counsel this week. Of course, this was all expected, but there was no announcement, no press release. His departure was actually revealed in a footnote in a legal filing. So all of this concludes a chapter in American politics that tested the limits of accountability under the law. But it now also marks the beginning of a new chapter, where those who perpetrated the events of January 6th are celebrated and maybe even pardoned. Joining me now is Andrew Weissmann, former general counsel at the FBI and a senior member of special counsel Robert Mueller's team. I just want to start with the big picture here, Andrew. I mean, we talked about this last week, but it feels a little bit like the end of a chapter on these legal cases, and maybe that this could incentivize this kind of behavior without consequences in the future. I mean, there's only one Trump, but just in general. But how are you thinking about this moment?
Well, if you think about the idea that there could be pardons for the people who were involved in January 6th, it gets to be a pretty dystopian world, that when you think that somebody could be committing crimes as outrageous and horrendous as not just attacking police officers, but really attacking our democracy and doing it at the behest of the president, but would face no criminal consequences, at least federally, because they're either the Department of Justice under Trump 2.0 will not go after them, or they could be pardoned for prior crimes or future crimes that they commit at his behest. So we really could be entering a lawless world. It remains to be seen. It's going to be a real challenge for those people in the Department of Justice when you have a convicted felon as the president. But it remains to be seen. But it is a scary prospect, especially when you're thinking about the January 6th defendants.
And a lot of this is scary, as you noted. I mean, Trump is going to be inaugurated 8 days from now, and he will have pardon power when he's inaugurated. J.D. Vance, his incoming vice president, was actually asked about this morning. I just want to play what he had to say.
If you protested peacefully on January the 6th and you've had Merrick Garland's Department of Justice treat you like a gang member, you should be pardoned. If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned. And there's a little bit of a gray area there, but we're very much committed to seeing the equal administration of law. And there are a lot of people, we think, in the wake of January the 6th who were prosecuted unfairly. We need to rectify that.
So I don't want to give him credit. I don't want to predict something we don't know is going to happen. But what did you hear in that answer?
Well, it's interesting. I heard a lot of walking back from, the sort of Trump rallies where he embraced explicitly sort of everybody who participated in this violent insurrection. That seemed to be walking back the people who would be the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, who engaged in or convicted of violent acts. But I think people should remember, we all saw with our eyes, and we're going to see again if there are pardons of people who participated in the violent attack on the Capitol. To sit there, nobody was prosecuted just for showing up and peacefully protesting. There's a First Amendment right. That was not part of why people were convicted. It had nothing to do with free speech. It had nothing to do with their political views. People were prosecuted for actions. And so I'm not just focusing on what J.D. Vance said. And, he is a Yale-educated lawyer, so he knows this. The people who were prosecuted, there was not sort of a nonviolent participation in a peaceful protest. It was actually an attack on the Capitol at the very least.
Right. Gray area is doing a lot of work in that answer, but we don't have to answer on his behalf. We'll keep talking about this. Before I let you go, it seems to be that one of the last legal battles right now, actually, before Trump takes office, we'll see what else happens after, is about the release of this report from Jack Smith, which would have to happen between now and his inauguration. Do you think we're going to see it? What's your gut?
Well, Judge Cannon is clearly doing everything she possibly can in the most unjudicious way. I really don't have enough time to talk about all of the ways that she is just really, I think, just a disgrace to so many judges, including judges appointed by Donald Trump, who are really good judges. And she has really tarred them in terms of her actions here. I do think the 11th Circuit is going to step in, and we will see the release of the part of the report that deals with January 6th. But Merrick Garland himself has said that he is not planning on publicly releasing the part of the report about the classified documents part of the case. I think that's a mistake, and I think there could be substantial information in there about a lot of people, including Kash Patel. So we'll see what happens with that.
That is a very important point. We're going to have to talk more about that. Andrew Weissmann, thank you so much as always. Really appreciate it.